So if I could, I want to talk more about this, but if you could introduce yourself and how long you've lived in Star when you came here?
Okay, my name's Herbert Quenzer. I moved to Star in '59, and I farmed here all my life so far. Whatever Star, '59, that's 70 years, I guess. I figured.
And you said that you actually started farming over at Cole and Overland?
Well, I farmed in Kuna first when I got married, because I didn't have, my dad was a farmer and dairyman. So I didn't have no money to, you rented. And you worked months to pay the rent.
Wow.
So then I got on that over there, and the banker, he loaded my dad, and so I got that. And then when I found this farm, I come over, bought it for $35,000, 110 acres. Then I added another 20 and another 80 and another 50 and another 50.
Well, I noticed that you have pictures of crops, but you also, so you raised crops and you had...
Oh yeah, mint, sugar beets, yeah. Did everything to keep alive.
And dairy cattle as well?
Oh yeah, had milk cows. I had a grade A quota of 2,500 pounds of milk a day. And that's when I put a grade A barn in and ship it in a bulk tank before I put it in the milk cans and haul it to Kuna. Caldwell, the creamery, 7 days a week.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, sure was.
So when we were talking earlier, you talked about building this home. This isn't the home you started in when you moved here.
No, I don't know where I got pictures. The old home was over here. That's what I had. When it rained inside. Outdoor privy. There was no modern crowd when I grew up. Sears and Roebuck catalog. That's what we had. Couldn't afford toilet paper,
Mm-hmm. I think you said it was actually a pair of chicken coops when you started out?
Well, they were put together and then they remodeled them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They used old barn door windows in them and stuff. And the windows were square with putty around them, and the putty fell off and the wind blew in.
Wow. So it's quite an improvement. Did you also have chickens? There were chicken coops.
Oh, we had chickens.
That was just for yourself?
When the kids grew up, we had them Leghorn roosters. They chased the kids and pecked them, so I took 22 and shot them all. And we had chicken to eat.
I just lost my train of thought there for a second. You mentioned you had an outdoor privy, and did you have running water, electricity, telephone?
Well, we had running water, electricity. Yeah, the old well's still over here. It's Sandpoint Well. You know what that is?
No.
It's a pipe in the ground with a valve on the bottom that don't let it, keeps pressure in it. And that's all it is. It's a 2-inch pipe and a point on it that you take a sledge and drove them in. And that well there's only about 20 foot deep, but it fed all my cattle. And all of it's still running. But I got a new well for this right over here. But that's what I had. And I passed grade A inspection on it. So the water had to be, clean and pure to ship grade A milk.
Oh, okay, the inspection was not for you, it was to ensure that the milk would pass inspection with that water.
Well, the water has to be inspected. It had to be clean water, don't have bacteria and, stuff in it. And it all passed, so I didn't have to drill a new well, and it's still using it. And I mean, it pumps good water. It's better water. This one I got 200 feet down. And then I got an artesian well right beside it. It smells like sulfur. And it's 500 and some feet.
Wow.
It goes out there to the duck pond. I keeps the duck pond tall.
So you moved here when you were married when you moved here,
Oh, yeah.
and you raised your family here.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about your family and what it was like raising a family on a farm here in this area?
Yeah, I mean, when they grew up, they helped feed the calves, milk. They all had calves themselves, so they had an interest in, give them something to be interested in, because they had to get up in the morning before school and go feed their calves. And then they sold them and kept the money, and I mean, that keeps kids interested. But you make them work and don't give them nothing. And I wouldn't give them money. I made them work for their money, and that was the way I brought them up. So they learned they had to feed that calf till it got big, and then they sold it, and that was their money.
Were you or they involved in like 4-H or FFA or any of those kind of programs?
It's what?
Were you or your children involved in 4-H or FFA, Future Farmers?
No, my grandsons were. They were in 4-H and stuff.
How about you? Were you part of any local organizations, Farm Bureau or any?
Oh yeah, I was on the Mint Commission. I was on that, and I was with Dairyman's Creamery, a member. And I got a plaque in there where I was with the, anyway, the one called, so I can't remember the name. But anyway, no, I got plaques in there that I want, that they gave me, and then me and my brother took Farmers of the Year. That was Chambers, Chambers, or what the hell you call it.
Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, for here.
So you also mentioned you grew up on a farm. Your parents?
Oh yeah, over on Victory and Eagle Road, right on the corner. That's where we grew. My dad bought that 80 acres for $7,000.
So what was it like for you growing up on a farm? And I mean, I know it's work, you've already talked about it, but it was work that you continued doing it. So you grew up.
Oh yeah, I mean, when we got married, when my dad helped us. But when the war broke out, my two brothers Dad was milking 80-some head of cows and stuff. And they drafted them in the Army, and my dad had angina, heart trouble. So me and my younger brother, my mother, we took over. So he sold the cows way down to where we could handle it. And that's the way it went.
Where did your kids go to school? You raised them here. Where did they go to school?
Middleton and Meridian. I had one daughter went to Meridian High School, and the others went to Middleton.
So were the elementary school, did they go to the school
They
here?
went to grade school over here, Central Park, and then from there to Middleton.
Okay, I'm not familiar with Central Park School.
It's still there. There are people living in it.
Oh.
It was a 2-room school. Fourth, had the 8th grade in it, 4 in a lower one and 4 in a bottom.
Wow. And this is new to me. I have not heard about the...
Oh yeah, it's still there. That was the good old days.
So what did you do for fun? I mean, if you didn't work all the time, did you ever go to...
Oh no, well, when I could afford it and got up to where the kids were a little, big enough, we jet skied, did a lot of swimming, and I got a cabin up at Cascade, and we go up there and jet ski and snowmobile for almost 25 years. Till I had open heart surgery, then I couldn't do this no more. And no, We played as much as we could do and still farm.
What do you know with? What did the average day look like? What did you do day to day? What kind of?
Well, when you them days,
Yes.
I got up at 5 in the morning, put my shoes on, and the rest of my clothes. Went out in the barn, opened the barn door, and turned the lights on, so the cows would come off and go out and bring them all in the holding pen. Then we milked for 2 hours. Then my wife cleaned the barn up, and I went out and fed the cows. Then I come in and ate breakfast, and at that time I hauled the milk to the creamery, so I jumped in the pickup and took 25 cans of milk to Caldwell, and I put them on the milk track, and 80 pounds of milk and 30 pounds a can.
Wow.
Yeah, made muscles.
Yeah. Imagine.
And then they come home, and if it was the summertime, set water and probably called away corn, or it's always something to do. Clear into October when harvest was over, and then you hung your boots and the shovel on the wall and forget it till April or May.
What did you do during the winters?
What do I do now?
I mean, what did you do during the winters back
Fed the
then?
cows, bedded them down, and cleaned the corrals, because the cows didn't care. They crapped every day.
But so
You had to keep the cow for grade A. You had to keep the holding pens and all the manure piled up and clean.
yeah. So the work never ended. You were always working.
All day long. Either maybe there was a calf that the cow was having and couldn't come out, so you had to reach in and put a set of chains on the front legs and one around the neck and pull them out. That was usually twice a week. I had a cow calving.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, when you got 100 and some head of milk cows, you dry them up for 2 to 3 months. Then they come fresh, and then they give a lot of milk. You can't milk them forever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They have to redone and start over.
Well, that's an awful lot of cows. You had that's a lot of cows. You had quite the operation.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, yeah, for just one person. But then everybody had a few cows, about 20, 25, all around. I can name them: Bob Sample, Clayton Cope, Sherwin Hanson, me, and my brother. Well, me and my the dairyman's creamery, Bob Sample was the biggest can chipper, most pounds per day. I was next, and that's a big creamery. There was a lot of milk in there when Meridian Creamery closed. Why, then it took over. But that's just a routine every day. I mean, there's always a sick calf or something going on.
So you took care of the cattle. Largely, it sounds like you took care of the cattle yourself. You didn't bring in a vet for a lot of this stuff.
Anyone?
A veterinarian. It sounds like you did.
Oh, hell yeah. I had them too, yeah. Had plenty of them. The ambulance and come and got the dead ones, and they had them too. You always lost the best cow. Something went wrong. I don't know. If they laid down on a ditch or something, or laid over upside down, they're dead. And so, there's something to do every day.
I think, did you have, I think I recall hearing that you had something to do with putting concrete in ditches?
Well, yeah, I hired that done. Yeah, I hired all that, the guys that do that work. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I just leveled the ground and painted it on grade, so there'll be about 1 inch to the 100 feet of fall so the water would go. And he come and made the trench and poured the cement in it. Because there wasn't a cement ditch on here or nothing. And I leveled it and made big fields. And that was a little over time. You didn't do things like that all at once. You had to have no money. It took money to do it. And I did a lot of leveling. And so the Canyon counties, the government helped pay for half of the cement ditches if I leveled. It's just a project, you know, which helped us out a lot, because I did the whole 130 some acres. And then I did the rest of them over here, the other place.
So that was on top of all the other work you were doing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's just one more thing to add to your list.
That come in the fall or early spring. Yeah, and then it was over. When the water came in, you couldn't do nothing. The ground was too wet. You had the ground just to have the right texture so it wouldn't, go muddy. You had to do everything on so it would work. It's a project. They got a boat, they pour it in, and they drag it, and the concrete just forms the ditch.
Wow. You mentioned, was there a particular crop that was like your favorite crop to raise, or was it?
My favorite crop was mint. It was good when it got started and got into it, when played our cues right, didn't get greedy. You got greedy, you didn't, that was no good. So I always made a contract to cover my expense and pay the banker back what I owed him. And the rest was mine until we really got going. And we done that me and my brother had a still together over on Black Cat Road. And he has 3 boys, and I have my daughter Connie, and the other. We done the farming here. And we done custom mint, and one year we done 1,300 acres, custom mint, cutting for other people and stilling it. We had a 300 horse boiler and 8 mint tubs. You know what those are?
No, I do not.
It's made out of steel, iron, and you blow the mint in, and it's got pipes in the bottom, and you hook the steam up to it. It comes up through it, it goes out and goes in the condensers, which is full of little copper tubes, and that separates the oil, and there's oil in the leaves. And then when it goes, it's separated, the oil goes over in a receiver, and there's water in the bottom, and the oil stays on top. And then we siphon it over in a mint barrel. And the mint barrels are galvanized, they don't rust. I mean, mint lasts forever. It's a lot of work, but it was good paying some years. Some years the banker wanted his money and they wouldn't buy our oil, so we got off the high horse pretty quick. We thought we was a roller, but it stopped us. But mint was good. Sugar beets was real good to me. Me and my brother had close to 500 acres together. And we had trucks and harvest, and it was a good cash crop. It was a lot of work. First goes in March, the beets, and come out in October. Long day. But now I just raise corn and wheat.
Is it sweet corn or feed corn?
No, it's feed corn. Come in, combine it. Where I'm standing in that field, that's the corn stubble. So, and that's a nice job too. It's fast and easy. Got a 12-row combine and carts and trucks. And it's a good feeling. You don't have to set water. It's over with. But no, in the summertime, you gotta chase water, spray weeds, clean ditch, always something. or go for hole mix in a ditch, and you got to go take the excavator and go fix the hole, or if you're able. I could keep you busy.
Do you have hire help for the summer?
Just me. When my wife was, me and her would set the tubes, and then Connie, my youngest daughter, she went to work for Albertsons. She thought that was a piece of cake, but she'd come back and help me. So, but that's the way it went. And we farmed together. We all, we used to do a lot of corn cutting, like Van Beeks. We filled their pits, and Pete Barta. They were big dairymen over on Star Road. We cut corn, filled their pits, and cut our corn, and that's so that made fall. But that all quit. So
you've seen a lot of changes in the area. I know driving over here, I can see, to the east of here and stuff used to be all farmland. You've seen quite a lot of changes.
Everywhere I went. We cut mint and chopped a lot of green chop and stuff. It's all gone. If you want to know, Canada Road was a gravel road, had ruts this deep. The water stood in them. Now drive down them and try to keep going, get stuck on Canada Road.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. That's a big road and paved now.
Oh yeah. But I say when I moved over, that was all gravel, and the road just wasn't no road.
I would imagine driving around, running your milk and stuff to the creamery, pretty hard on vehicles.
Oh yeah, it was hard on them. I mean, driving in the dirt and the water, and I mean, you tried to stay out of the ruts. All else got together, and they finally they graded it more often. If they'd have just graded it and closed the washboard, they didn't do nothing. But I guess they didn't have the help or the equipment, so I don't know. It was just good old hard days, that's all it was. You made your way.
Yeah, I imagine winters, I mean, you were still doing the cows, but winters out here probably were a little hard too.
Winters? Oh yeah, sometimes. Well, yeah. When you got a real nasty cold winter, and I didn't have lotion sheds, I had a big pile of wood chips. They all laid around it, and I'd scrape it off, clean it up. The cows were clean. I mean, I kept them just as good as I could with sheds, but they laid on that big pile of sawdust, and sawdust's hot. Oh, they loved it. They'd dig their feet and throw it over their back, and they loved it. But they could all sleep around it, because I kept that dugout with the loader and made them a place so they could sleep. I didn't have money to build a big shed and put them in. You got by with what you could. That's the way it was all the way.
What are your favorite memories from being here?
Being here? Mm-hmm. I think it was when we were harvesting all the mint, meeting all the people, and all the buyers, I.P. Kellis and Lehman's, Todd Company. You met a lot of people, that were mint buying were out of state. And they'd come talk to you and look at your mint, and see what we were doing. And they'd buy our oil. They make a bid on so much a pound. Now, that was my favorite time. I mean, we met so many people, you know what I mean? We'd go to the mint meetings sometimes in Las Vegas or in the ocean or over Washington or wherever they had them. And you met so many people, other farmers, and what they were doing. And it was really a good experience, because learning was the main problem, because mint is an expensive crop, and if you ain't on top of it, like you get spiders, loopers, they'll eat it up before you know it. So you gotta walk it, you gotta take care of it. And you gotta water it about every 7 days, because it drank water, because I don't know if I got a picture over here, but anyway, it's expensive. Then when you harvest it, you swathe it with a swather in the windrow, and then you let it dry till it was dried down enough, and you had to do it before the leaves got too dry, they'd fall off. That's your oil. It's not in the stems. Little maybe be in the stem, but no. Bob Friday, he tried it once. His swather wasn't cutting it, so he swathed the stems and it wasn't worth it. But anyway, the leaves, you can hold them in the sun, turn them over, and they just blister if you got good oil.
How did you learn? I mean, you were describing the still, which is a pretty complex process. How did you learn to do all that?
Where did we learn?
Yeah.
Right here. I mean, we hired Frank Rowe. He was good at welding and stuff. When he put it in, we put it in over there, Black Cat. And we had 4 bays. And then the boiler, our boiler, our tank held 10,000 gallons. What would you think now if we had to buy diesel for $4 a gallon? It'd be a $40,000 check. And when we started, it was 25 cents a gallon. What an experience, huh? But mint was $5. When we quit, mint was in the 20s. I mean, it had to go up because all your fertilizer and Sinbar is a chemical for weeds. Everything just flared up. I mean, why? I don't know. It's still the same product. That's kind of confusing, but that's the way it works. But no, that was our most, because it was really enjoyable to go to mint meetings and meet and then we had big dinners at the Roadway Inn, and I was on the mint board, so I was had to go. But anyway, no, that was my favorite. Milking cows, no.
Yeah.
Milk would be $10 a gallon today, and no. Did you hear about that Texas dairy? 18,000 head of milk cows burned up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a loss.
Well, the oxygen from the manure and stuff filled the building up and wasn't ventilated good enough. And when it blew up, it was just like an atomic bomb. All 18 head of milk cows, 18,000, I mean. That's a lot of cows.
That is. All under one roof, and that's a lot of methane in there too. Then.
Yeah, methane. I mean, they lost them all. That's terrible. Can you imagine the smell? Oh, man. I feel sorry for that farmer. He probably never had no insurance on every cow, which most farmers don't.
Yeah, it's expensive, and when your margins are tight, it's one thing that maybe you can cut.
You're right. But it was a lot of hard work. We run that still 7 days a week for 30 days in the hot summer and the boiler, and we made it.
With all the changes, with all the houses, what do you think about that? Is that?
I'm not for it, but when you get a chance to make some money without working, do it. I don't care who in the hell you are. And then when you get all done anyway, Uncle Sam's going to come talk to you. And when he gets done with you, he don't take you can't do him, you can't do nothing with him. And he's around forever. That's all I can tell you. But if you can sell your land and make some money off of it, I don't care who you are, whatever you are, do it. You only got one chance. That's all I mean, that's the way I feel. And I sold all mine. I finished up a year ago. Corey Barton bought all my other land over there. So, I mean, and this is all sold. Corey Barton bought it from the other people. Corinthian Homes bought it from me, and they lost it to a big bank in Texas. Some big Texas people bought it, and they kept it for a while, and then they pushed it off, made money. See, they're smart. They can sell it to somebody else and make money and don't touch it. Me, I had to make it, right? I had to do all the work to get it to where it is and keep it, pay taxes on it, paid interest on the money, all that. That all comes into play. I didn't do this for nothing. And every farmer's that. Everybody's that way. It's got a business. I'm not crying about the farmer, but you know, business people got the same dang thing. They got to play their cue right and get on the right side. And it's hard.
Was this a good life, a good place to raise a family?
It's one of the best there ever was. I had raised them here and they worked here. They weren't in some college where they got shot or got a knife through them. And they were home here every night. And I took care of them and they got married, they got a family, and they're living. They weren't at a college where they get shot and all tore up and all this other crap that's going on. When I grew up, that stuff didn't happen. If there was a kid in school that was kind of obnoxious to the teacher or something, this boy right here went to work. Oh, no, I ain't the only one. We made some kids real unhappy, but when we got done with them, they had respect. Otherwise, they didn't care. And now, this day and day, when I grew up, we got closed school. We go pick cherries, we pick prunes for McBurney. We help the farmer. You can't get a child labor law, you gotta be over 16. And that's not fair. Hell, I had to milk cows and stuff and feed cattle and whatever. And nowadays, they don't want them working, so why should they work? You get what I mean?
Yes.
That's not right. If some kid's got a place to go work or do something under 16 and he's capable of doing it and he meets the requirements, give him a job. Help him out. He's there, he's looking for something. Nowadays, they don't. They look for a gun or something to go kill a bunch, and then they don't get noticed. That's the only thing they get. They're noticeable, and they got a name. You know, I think they're proud of it. It ain't like it was when I grew up. When Dad says go do it, and you didn't do it, you got penalized behind. And my dad says, if I thought you wouldn't do that, couldn't do that, I would have never told you you had to do it. But I know you could do it, and you did too. And we walked the line. You know, I mean, that's the way it was. I don't know how you grew up, but there was work to do and stuff to do, and Mom and Dad were boss. I don't care who you are. And the only penalized was you got a butt beaten, right?
Yes.
And you didn't forget it.
No, didn't happen very often.
Well, and you know what? I have respect for my mom and dad. You know, they were in the 30s. They had a farm back east, lots of land, and went plumb broke and moved to Idaho, and he worked for the WPA, and he worked hard to keep the family and work hard. And work was the only way. So now I don't, as of now, I can't tell you. It's gone crazy. Something's wrong. You can't get high school kids out here to buck pails or something anymore.
No. Yeah, I mean, unless it's their family's farm, not likely to.
Oh, it's over with. For family farms like this one, you won't see when I started or what I did. That'll never happen again. You know what I mean? McGurdio's over here. His brother bought some equipment from me. He just sold his cows, 3,500 head of milk cows over on Purple, out of Cole Road. And he sold all the calves and everything. Some of the cows went to Canada. All over he's done. And his dad and me hauled milk to Idaho Creamery. And he was a Basco. He's a hell of a nice guy. But the boys took over after he died and kept going. But it's over with. I mean, you ain't going to see somebody come here and buy 130 acres and try to make a living. It's never going to happen again. So I can tell you, in the houses, when they're built on this land, they're there forever. There's no more corn going to grow there. No more cows can eat grass. It stops for everything.
It sounds like that makes you sad.
Sad?
Sad, yes.
Well, in a respect, yeah, wouldn't you? I mean, you grew up in a time when things were so much different. And now it's you know, when people kill to kill, that's not right.
Yeah.
When I grew up, they hung them over here, Snowden and them, they hung them. I was just a little kid and they hung them guys. You know, they killed a gas station there in Garden City. You don't know about it. I was only 13, 14 years old. They hung them. They're out there in the cemetery, in this cemetery. They hung them. They didn't mess with them. Now, look at Creech. How many years has he been in pen? How many people has he killed? 3. Does he deserve to live?
That I can't comment on. I don't know. But I remember when that happened.
Yeah. You know, it's really sad that if you want to travel now and do stuff, you almost have to have a gun under your seat to protect yourself. That's not right either. This is American, and they're living here, and they can do this. That's more sad.
Is there anything with all the changes that you've seen going on around you, is there anything that you were glad to see, something, an improvement, services, something that you thought, well, that's a good thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it back to when people could walk on the streets and you felt free and you felt like a free American. And you didn't have to be scared to go out at night and walk the streets. That's not what this country's made of. Our forefathers fought for all this stuff, and we should respect it. And I think 99% of our big boys, like our president, I'll name them, they're in the wrong shoe. They should be taking care of this stuff. And they could do it. Stop all guns made, climb them all up. And if you wanted a gun, you could get one, but you had to be clean. They won't sell 4 or 5 guns to one person. I mean, that should never happen because they're killing innocent people. If they'd shoot themselves, that's fine. Now what? And if I was president, I'd do that. And another thing, I'd put people to work, and I would pay them not to work. I wouldn't do that. They'd have to show their hand, because our people back in the 1900s, that's all they knew was work. They didn't know nothing about all this stuff, killing and stuff. They had no money. They couldn't buy guns. They couldn't.
Well, I mean, looking at the pictures and stuff, you've created a wonderful family, and I mean, I know your daughters worked hard.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your grandkids learn to work.
Yeah, they're all working. They all got jobs. They're all taking care of their family, and everything's going smooth. I mean, like it should be. Sure, there's some up and down. Some got divorces, but that's the walk of life, kind of. I mean, nowadays, it wasn't when I grew up. If you got married, why, until death do you part. Remember that verse? You took, right?
Yep.
I remember that.
So how long were you married?
58 years. Yeah. We put all this together. And I built this house for when I sold this 50 up here. I took that money and built her a house. She lived in it 2 years, and that was it. So sad. It's not fair, but that's walk of life. And I just think, I mean, there's things that should be done that should be done. I mean, that's the way I feel. I mean, from where I grew up till now, yeah. Real, yeah. I mean, it just makes me sick. I mean, to see what's going on, what my forefathers worked for, and what we worked for. The money I paid for taxes and stuff, that all went into this. And that's the way it works. So, and I don't think it's going to change. I mean, when people like the one in Kellogg can knife 3 innocent kids with a knife, that's not human. Animals aren't cruel. Animals have respect for themselves. And God made us with a mind and talk and see, to take care and talk to each other and understand. Animals don't, but they know how far to go and what to do.
Oh.
I mean, that's the way I feel. I mean, I'm 92 years old next month, 2 months, and I've been here quite a while. I've seen a lot, went through a lot, and I'm still going to stay as long as I can. But that's the way life is.
Oh, you have, I mean, your family's close by. You see them.
Oh yeah.
You've got a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
to
I
stick
got a
around.
daughter who lives down there, a granddaughter here, and then the others here, and they're around. And the grandkids are all too. They're within talking distance. But did the best we could with nothing. I'm gonna tell you, with nothing. Married with nothing and worked all those years. And you had to work. You didn't get this for nothing. Nobody handed me the money.
Oh, and you did well, as you described earlier. You
Only
kept
had
buying
some-
up property and farming more land.
Yeah. Well, that's our business. You know what I mean? We had to do more because we had, that's the way it worked. I don't know how to explain it, but we had to do more farming to keep in pace. 80 acres was a big farm way back with my dad. Well, 40 acres cost as much as an 80 when the horses and stuff. But now we had to just keep buying land and just increasing it. So, if there's any changes, I hope. I'd like to see my grandkids have a good life too. And I mean, that's the way I feel. Maybe I'm wrong, but I like to see them have a good life in America.
Well, I think that's what we all wish for our families.
Yeah, well, that's what we work for. That's what my mom and dad worked for. You know, they had the same problem. But I mean, that's what you work for. You're not taking it with you. I don't find anybody that's made it back. And if they do, they're going to scare the hell out of me. How'd you do it? Right?
Yep. So anybody think of anything we didn't?
You talked about people who had greed with mint and it didn't work out. You talked about mint and that you said don't be greedy with mint.
Oh, on price.
Okay. Do you have like a story of somebody who was too greedy and it didn't work out for them?
Well, they went broke.
I'll have you talk to Dean about it.
So, yeah, well, tell me what.
Well, you made they come out, want to buy your oil, and then they'll offer you a price. Well, somewhere down the line, I heard a neighbor got more, so you want to get that too. And then you don't sell to this person, this Todd Company or Lehman's or whatever, and then the mint, they don't buy it, and you're sitting on it, and you got payments to make. That's greedy. You should have sold and paid your debts, right?
Yes.
We learned that. But when it was easy, it was fun. But when it got tough, it was hard.
How long could you keep the oil before you?
We sold enough all the time to cover our bills. We had a big oil bill, That burner burned 100 and some gallons an hour. Diesel, heating that steam. It's a 300 horse boiler. And you pay all the other expense and that. And then we had sold enough oil to pay our debts, and what was left, that was for us.
Well, but you couldn't just keep the oil waiting around for a better price. It wouldn't last that long.
Oh yeah, we did that.
Oh, okay.
That's what causes trouble. We got greedy, wanted more money. That didn't work. It did sometimes, but other times it didn't work so well. There's always a crook in the road where there's always something.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of lessons to learn. There were a lot of lessons to learn.
Every day. Yeah, every day. It's still that way. I mean, we sell our wheat and corn and make a contract, so many bushels to the acre to cover us. But I don't farm no more. I'm done. I done my share, I think.
I think so too.
You just want to close out by saying, is there anything that...
Yeah, I should have said this at the beginning. When we get to the end, I'd like to give you an opportunity. If there's anything you think we should know or you'd like to tell us about that we haven't talked, it would give you an opportunity to...
Well, the only thing I can tell you, Star has grown outrageous. There's so many homes over here and here. This will all be homes. And it's just taken over all the way towards Middleton. And you go up there on the hill, go back over this way, up towards Horseshoe Bend, all that. That's all filling up. It's just growing. It has to. There's no more room to put houses anywhere else on bare ground. And the people are coming in here, and us people that own the ground, when you get a good offer, you're going to sell. And then you got people, when I first started to sell that, they'd come to the meetings and stuff, and they were neighbors, and they'd cuss me up one side and down the other. That they moved out here to have it free. I looked at them and I said, you know what, I moved out here to have it free and you're here. That ain't gonna work. They sat in the chair and just kind of looked. Where's he coming from? Well, I'm here.
And you have been a long time.
Yes. But that's how narrow-minded some people are. Okay for you, but not for them, but not for you. And you own the ground. And it worked. Some people got her done. I was on the ditch yard board for the mill, slough, and irrigation for 25 years. I went through a lot when the people started moving in. They wouldn't let our ditch rider on their property to clean a ditch or nothing. Well, that's my property now. You don't touch it. And them ditches are there for a reason. They don't realize it all comes from Bear Rock and Lucky Peak and Anderson Ranch. That's all this water. And it has a ditch to come in to get to your farm. And they were put there by somebody that knew what they were doing. Because water runs downhill. I don't care what anybody says. Some people don't realize that. They just think it's water. It is water. I tell them that, but it's got to move. And it runs. Don't have no legs. That's what I told one gal. She was gone in the middle of me, and I said, well, water runs. And it's got to have a way to go, and it's got to be able to get there. And it don't have no legs. I think she thought I was right. I don't know. But I just learned on the board, I learned a lot to deal with people. Just keep your mouth shut and listen. That's the only way you can cure it. They know it all. I went to college, you know. I know what I'm doing to more people. Or they just look at stuff. They can't figure it out. I'm not kidding you. They can't figure out how that water run past their house. And we got to clean the ditch. They don't have a clue in the world. I grew up with that. Over Meridian, my dad had 80 acres. We got the water out of the New York Canal. I grew up, I rode ditch with my dad. I learned a lot. Learned a lot of people trying to open their head gates with a shovel. And looked like a gopher eating on it. We had them put under the weir, you know, it runs over a weir, you know what a weir is? That's where the water runs over, 2-foot weir.
Yes.
And it's got a gauge on the side. And that's, if they order 50 inches, then you turn it in so that runs over. We had a guy in the wintertime put a plastic hose in the front, went under, and my dad had the Army weapon carrier. I told my dad, I said, there's something funny here. I see the water whirling over here, the twigs sucking down. So I went down behind and he had it all rocked in, and it went around the weir and down there and was getting that 4-inch pipe, extra water. You know what I did? Unlocked the head gate and put her down to where I figured he was getting that and that. And then he said, you closed my head gate. And I said, yeah. Well, he talked to my dad, he didn't talk to me. And he said, yeah, you got a pipe sucking water on around, so we included that in your head of water. He just stood there. I can't see a guy feel more painless than him. I mean, he was shaking. He was stealing water. We could have went and got him, but we just let him work him out. So we politely told him, just dig it out, take it out. You got caught, don't do it again. But that's what happens. But that water, you know, was sucking in that pipe, just whirlwind. And I seen it. Went down below the ditch and shut the head gate off. Ditch still running. All kinds of tricks.
No.
So,
Well, we have another appointment to go to,
okay.
but I want to say thank you so much. It's been a
All
delight
right.
to
Well,
talk
I'm
with you.
trying to feed you all the crap I know, but if I know more, I'll call you.
Okay.
I'm still learning.
Oh, good for you. That's important.
Yeah.